This goddamn figure sucks. This video is rated TV 16, has some harsh language which may not be appropriate for younger audiences. Viewer discretion is advised. Heavy Metal Explosion coming at you with another video discussion. And this here we have a comparison to do. Well, that's right. This is Siege, Ultra Magnus, and Earthrise Ultra Magnus. One of the coolest things about Transformers was Optimus Prime. Optimus Prime was probably the coolest toy, but the one that would really hit home for, I think, for a lot of us was the Ultra Magnus. First, because he transformed into this huge hulking robot. The thing about Ultra Magnus is that his cab was just a repaint of Optimus Prime. And that was neat. It was neat to see how they was going to integrate a trailer, car carrier, more or less, into this big robot with an Optimus Prime figure. Now, over the years, we've gotten many different Optimus Primes. One of the ones I remember that I thought was pretty neat was your RID Optimus Prime. RID Ultra Magnus. And in vehicle mode, but this also carried a lot of the characteristics of an Earthrise or Earth mode Ultra Magnus, especially in this mode here. You can tell mostly by this chest sculpt here. If you remember, the Earthrise of the G1 Magnus had something, a chest piece that kind of looked like a jet. Now, this one over here takes a lot of cues from what I can tell from the Masterpiece Magnus, and which is a good Magnus. When it comes to an Ultra Magnus in that line that more resembles the cartoon movie, what they in turn gave us is just a resculpt / repaint of the RID. Not a bad figure. As a matter of fact, I would be lying if I said I would have a hard time parting with this one. This one, on the other hand, took me a long time to decide to spend my money on it. So, one of the biggest things we have going on here is the head sculpt. As you can see here, the head sculpt here are very different to one another. I believe this one over here is going to favor the cartoon toy. You see here there's resculpts on these pillars here, shoulder columns, and there's a resculpt on the rockets, and the waist belt is different. The wrist plates, they look about the same. The main gun, it's the same. This one over here came with 2 extra guns, and I always keep it looking like this here because, you know, Cybertronian. As we go down here, we see that looks like thighs are the same, and we get over here And this plate here and this here all looks the same along with the feet. What we show on the side is that these side plates have been resculpted. New wheels.
So I'm going to cut away and actually put different audio in here because it just gets a little befuddled. What I'm getting ready to do is strip down this Ultra Magnus on the right, the Earthrise, and or Kingdom, and show you the inner Magnus, the white Magnus or the white Prime. Now there's a lot of differences within these two figures, but one of my problems with the Magnus on the right is that they could have done better with the inner figure. The chest plate on the left resembles the toy. The right has a lot of cues from the MP figure, but it's not. It's hard to explain after I looked at some pictures, but I think because of the cleanliness of it is what gives it away. Plus, the Magnus on the right doesn't have a Autobot symbol. Why not? This is ideally going to be on Earth, so they're going to need something like that for the quote-unquote Earthlings to, pick them out. Whereas the one on the left, more or less, didn't need one. So that's another little nitpick I have. So let's do a little movie magic here and go from figure looking like this to a figure looking like this. So this here is what kind of disgusts me. Just this front view makes me ill to look at it. I wasn't gonna show the inner robot of this Magnus, so what I plan on doing is comparing the Optimus Prime and this Magnus, because essentially that's what they're trying to say, that this Optimus Prime is, this Magnus, or that's where he got his inner robot, I don't know, likeness from. And I'll give it to you. Now, Optimus Prime here, this is one of the best figures that we've gotten in years. But the one on the right, the one on the right, God, I don't even know where to begin. The chest makes him look like he's just a big, fat robot. I mean, there's cues there, but the head sculpts are good. The chest window section, that's okay. But because the way this original figure was designed, you're not able to get that slenderness that the Optimus Prime has now, or really even had on the other one. But with the Earthrise one, this is what we're looking at, is there's no slenderness. The pelvis area, obviously, it all needs work. I mean, honestly, I think they could have really gone with the Prime on the Prime on the left, and just made the components for the large Optimus Prime, Ultra Magnus, actually work to fit. because he has ports. You just change where those ports plug in at and how they wrap. The legs would wrap the same way, and there's a port there on the side for that one. If you look up on the arm, there's a port right there. The shoulder has the same port. So, uh, it's just that this figure is much more aesthetically pleasing than the Ultra Magnus in a robot. That's pretty much where I'm going with this. And god awful, that backpack. Oh my god, it gives me a migraine looking at it. Oh, Jesus Christ. So, when it boils down to it, I think really they could have done a lot better with this Ultra Magnus. I know they're trying to get their money out of that particular mold and everything, so the minimal amount of work they could do, they did. But I still think the Optimus Prime Earth mode would have been a better way to go, with very little modifications done to it, and in the end probably would have came out a bit cheaper, I would think, but who am I to guess, right? So yeah, I dislike this figure. I dislike it with a passion, really. But Prime, we all know that this is an excellent figure. Not masterpiece ideally or aesthetically, but a great figure for a mainline Transformer. So, look, in closing here, this Ultra Magnus isn't bad by any means. But is it good? No. I can get rid of this one a lot faster than I can get rid of the RID version in my book. So that tells you something there. Don't waste your money on this unless you're a completionist or you find the aesthetic pleasing. That would be my opinion. So, really, the only other thing I can really say about any of it is like, subscribe, leave a comment, and check out the Patreon, check out the eCrater store. There'll probably be a something in the description for something amount off for the eCrater store if you so choose to take a look. And really, until next time. Thanks for Cybertron for supplying some of the pictures in order for the comparisons to take place. Cybertron. And again, until next time.